Big Kid Boy in the building. Here are my 2018-2019 NBA playoff predictions for this year, guys. We have a lot to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time on this. First things first, we have to cover the Warriors versus LA Clippers matchup. Now, of course, I wholeheartedly believe that the Warriors are going to give the Clippers a complete whitewash. It might even be a 4-0 sweep. That's what I'm actually hoping for, so I'm going to put the Warriors over the Clippers right away. There's not really any contest between matchups at the point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, or center positions, so it's completely going to the Warriors. Moving on, we have the Houston Rockets versus the Utah Jazz, and with this matchup, we pretty much have polar opposites. The Houston Rockets are far more offensive than defensive, and the Utah Jazz are far more defensive than offensive. So you kind of really have to nitpick which one is better to have, offense or defense. The Houston Rockets have a significant amount of depth throughout their lineup. They are the best shooting team in the NBA. They just set the current NBA record for most threes in a game. While Utah is very good on defense, you've got a big man in Rudy Gobert, a very good two-way guard with Ricky Rubio, but you kind of have to give it up to the Houston Rockets here, with Chris Paul being able to average 8 or 9 assists a night, as well as James Harden being able to average 30 points a game, and he's done that all season long, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it here. You gotta give it to the beard, man. Next up, we have the Portland Trailblazers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. This matchup is going to be extremely competitive. The big three in Portland is looking like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Nurkic, while the Oklahoma City Thunder have Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams. Even though I might catch a little flack for this one, I see Russell Westbrook being able to average damn near close to a triple-double every night, as well as Paul George putting up anywhere from 20 to 25 points per game. Then you have Steven Adams locking things down on the defensive end, as well as doing his own work in the paint, probably going to put up 10 points a game. Now, with the Trailblazers, I don't see them being able to do all that much. Yes, Damian Lillard is capable of putting up 25 plus a night. Yes, CJ McCollum can score from damn near everywhere behind the arc, but at the same time, I feel like that's not enough. And Nurkic just can't get that edge above Steven Adams for me, so I'm going to have to give the advantage to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Portland just doesn't do it for me. I'm not really sold on it. Yes, you do have a good offense with Damian Lillard, CJ, but at the same time, that's all you have. So I got to give it to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Moving on, we are now at the 2nd seed versus the 7th. We have Denver Nuggets versus the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like this one is a lot less complicated just due to the Nuggets lineup. Like, that's impossible to even compete against when you're San Antonio. They've got Nikola Jokic, Isaiah Thomas, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, Malik Beasley, Gary Harris, Monte Morris, Will Barton, Mason Plumlee, Juan Hernan-Gomez, Trey Lyles. That team right there, that's a whitewash compared to guys like, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, and, Manu? Like, Manu is not going to be any help to that team. So, we're giving it right up to the Nuggets. Sliding over to the Eastern Conference, we're going to be going at the Bucks and Detroit Pistons, the 1st and 8th seed. Now, to me, this one is a no-brainer. The Bucks have Giannis, who is just runner-up for MVP. He's going to be teaming up with Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, Malcolm Brogdon, Pau Gasol, George Hill. All those guys are lining up his squad. They have so much depth, man. And I believe that they are the 1st or 2nd best defensive team in the East. So, for me, Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond really aren't going to be able to do much damage, so we're going to go ahead and give this one to the Bucks. Now, this next one here is going to be a bit tricky. We have the 4th and 5th seeds, the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers, two completely different teams. The Boston Celtics are far more offensive, and the Trailblazers are far more defensive. You've got guys on the Boston Celtics such as Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown even. They're going to be looking to score, and they're going to be looking to score quick. Now, the Pacers do have a very good defense in Miles Turner. That man is leading the charge this year in blocks. I see him averaging maybe 2.5 blocks a game this playoff season. They do also have Bojan Bogdanovic, Darren Collison, Tyreek Evans, Aaron Holiday, Elise Johnson, Corey Joseph, TJ Leaf, Wesley Matthews, Kyle O'Quinn. Like, they have so many defensive-oriented players, and they are going to be looking to get some stops. Now, I do believe that good defense will lead to instant offense, but when it comes down to it, Boston Celtics are going to take the cake on this one. They're just far better at scoring. I believe that they're going to move way better in transition, so it's got to go to them. To me, this next one is a bit more simple. We have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Brooklyn Nets haven't exactly had the best luck in the playoffs. In fact, I don't believe that they've ever won an NBA title. And the Philadelphia 76ers have done amazing with free agents. They've done incredible jobs with their development of their players. Everybody's looking pretty healthy in Philadelphia. Not to mention, they don't exactly have the best matchups. When it comes to Brooklyn versus Philadelphia, we have to give it to Philadelphia, man. We've got Embiid, who could literally just drop 40 bombs whenever he wants to. Ben Simmons could put up triple doubles. I don't see him shooting from the three-point line, but, you know, he could still do his own thing. Jimmy Buckets is also out there. You've got too much, like, star power there with the Philadelphia 76ers, so it's got to go to them. Now, this matchup here between the 2nd and 7th seed of the East kind of makes me laugh. Honestly, Orlando has Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic, but they don't really have any other pieces to win a championship. Kawhi, Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, like, they have so many people over there in Toronto. So this one to me is plain and simple. It's going to Toronto. Back over to the West, we have the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. The Warriors have all the star power in the world, while Houston does have a more well-rounded team, and I believe that they have more depth with their bench. The Warriors are extremely up-tempo, as much as the Houston Rockets are. Both are extremely good at shooting threes, but I do believe that there is one factor that needs to come into play with this matchup. And that factor is Stephen Curry's health. Recently, he's had a bit of problems with his ankle, and honestly, I think all this wear and tear is not going to be good for him. There's going to be a play where him and another player are both up in the air, and he's probably going to land wrong, so I see Curry getting injured. And what happens when Curry doesn't play for the Warriors? The Warriors have a hard time finishing games. They do not do well without Curry. They shoot a significantly lower percentage, and that's why I'm going to have to go with the Rockets. They have so much more depth than the Warriors. Honestly, guys, I don't really think it's a fair matchup, especially if Stephen Curry's off the court. Not to mention, the Rockets just set the NBA record for most threes in a game. So you gotta go with the Rockets, man. Up next, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets in this matchup. Now, this one here is going to be fairly interesting. Honestly, I feel like Denver has more depth. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City has far more star power. Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steve Adams are definitely going to be some trouble for the Denver Nuggets lineup. I feel as though Nikola Jokic is not going to do fairly well against Steven Adams, because Jokic has shown in the past that he just can't put up numbers against the taller 7-footers, such as Embiid, Rudy Gobert. He just doesn't do well. And considering Jokic is a huge part of Denver's offense, we're going to have to give the advantage to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that Steve Adams is going to do fairly well at locking him down, and given that he is a little bit taller, he is probably going to be able to get some easy buckets off of him. Switching things back over to the Eastern Conference, we have another doozy, guys. Milwaukee Bucks versus the Boston Celtics. Now, when it comes down to it, the Celtics are very good offensively. Milwaukee is very good offensively. Defensively, however, Milwaukee takes the cake by a mile. The Celtics are just not as good defensively as the Milwaukee Bucks are. They have so much firepower in Giannis Antetokounmpo, averaging probably 30, 10, and 5 a night. I am not saying that the Celtics are a bad team, but they are just no matchup when it comes to Milwaukee. Last matchup before we get into our conference finals, we have the Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Both are very good teams in their own right. Both are very well-rounded, good offense, good defense. This could be an even matchup. Just looking into the star power, you've got the likes of such as Ben Simmons, Embiid, you have TJ McConnell. Like, there are so many offensive and defensive threats on both teams. For the Toronto Raptors, you've got Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard. The list goes on for both teams. But, you know, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Toronto Raptors. You've got Kawhi down there. He's got playoff experience. Not to mention, the team as a whole has a lot of playoff experience. And LeBron is out of the East? Oh yeah, it's going to be Toronto all day, baby. Now we have entered the Western Conference Finals. We have Houston Rockets versus Oklahoma City Thunder. This is going to be the best matchup of the finals, guys. I can guarantee you that right now. Both James Harden and Russell Westbrook are not on the greatest of terms. Russell Westbrook is also known to be a bit of a hothead, as well as Chris Paul. I feel like there's going to be a lot of drama in this series. So first thing I want to address is the depth of both teams. The Rockets have phenomenal depth, and they are very well-rounded. Everyone is able to shoot the ball fairly good behind the arc, so they have the advantage there. Although Oklahoma City does have more star power in Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steve Adams. Now, the battle of the bigs is going to be not so much a deciding factor, but it is going to be a role player. So, Clint Capella offensively is not as good as Steven Adams, but Steven Adams is not as good defensively as Clint Capella. You see where that's a problem? So between the two of them, it's pretty much a coin flip. You can't really go wrong with either center, but neither one is better than the other. Now when it comes down to Chris Paul and James Harden, offensively they are extremely better than Russell Westbrook and Paul George. Solely behind the fact that Russell Westbrook cannot shoot an open three-point shot to save his life. I believe right now, this season, he's averaging a 26% from behind the arc, which is astronomically bad. Like, I cannot stress how bad his jumper is from behind the arc. So, with that fact alone, and Russell Westbrook's ability to not defend very well from behind the arc, I have to give it to the Rockets here, guys. Headed back over to the Eastern Conference, we have the conference finals between Milwaukee and the Toronto Raptors. So with these two teams, it's got to come down to star power as well. I mean, you've got Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Middleton, Giannis. Oh my god, like the depth with Milwaukee and Toronto is phenomenal, guys. Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Kawhi, like I can't stress how incredible these finals are going to be. Like, you've got so much going on here with both of these teams. It's really hard to choose and to nitpick every little thing. But I hate to say this, Kawhi Leonard is going to get locked up by Giannis. You can't get around those arms. So the advantage is going to go to the Bucks. I have to give it to him, man. Giannis, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. It's going to happen. So here we have our finals matchup. The NBA Finals is set. We have the Houston Rockets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, there's so much going on this year with the finals. You have the Greek Freak versus the MVP, the Beard, James Harden. Now, it's so difficult to choose between these teams. Giannis is unstoppable, and at the same time, you can't guard James Harden. You really can't. So it's going to come down to who can do the most with their depth. Chris Paul is going to be dishing out assists like nobody's business. Probably going to average 10 assists throughout this series. I'm really hoping he pulls through. While on the other end, you have Malcolm Brogdon over there. He is known for shooting the three ball, and he's pretty darn good at it. I'm not even going to lie. Next up, we've got James Harden and Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, a bit taller than James Harden. And I feel like Chris Middleton does have a better shot to him, but James Harden with that step back, man, you're not stopping that shot. I can't even lie to you. I've seen Milwaukee's defense do a little bit of a tweaking to their strategy. They were guarding the left side of Harden, so where he couldn't bring it back and shoot, but that's just going to give him the drive to the basket. And then if he doesn't get the drive, he can always kick it out to one of his other teammates. They have such phenomenal depth, and recently they just set the NBA record for most threes made in an NBA game. Oh my gosh. This is going to be really hard to say, but 3 is more than 2, Milwaukee. Vantage goes to the Houston Rockets. They will be your 2018-2019 NBA champions, guys. I can see this definitely going into 6-7 games, but I think it's pretty much a guaranteed Rockets win, man. They just have so much depth. They can shoot the 3 ball, and that's more than 2 points. I can't even lie to you. Not to mention, free throws definitely come into the equation. Free throws will definitely be big for this team, but at the same time, you can't stop Harden's offense. He's so versatile. If you deny him the 3 ball, he'll drive to the basket. If you deny him the bucket there, he can dish it out to the corners for the open 3. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry to say that, Milwaukee, but the cake is going to go to Houston. So there you have it, guys. The 2018-2019 NBA playoffs have come to a conclusion. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Comment down below if you think I got a few things wrong. But honestly, I think this is going to happen. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel today. And as always, smash that bell button to receive all notifications on my newest uploads. That's going to do it for me, and I will see all of you in my next video.